So those guys are going to drop back a fair bit from the boat too, so probably run about 60 metres back. So a fair way back. But trolling a bit faster than deep divers. Expensive little buggers, but they work really well. They're bigger brothers, which is that size there, which is a CD11. Sorry, CD11. That's a 9, that's 11. That's probably, I don't usually troll that small. Sometimes I look for spotties if they're sort of a bit quiet on baits, where it might be. But generally I'm trying at least that size for spotties, or a bit bigger again. So that's a CD11, they're pretty popular as well. At the end of the day, you just got to decide, guys, you got to go for Spanish or you go for spotties. It's hard to do both. You will catch spotties as bycatch on Spanish stuff, and you will catch spotties will take Spanish baits as well. You know, it works in reverse. But if I'm going to get the trolling, I'm going to troll, like, this is probably going to be my 3 picks. Those 3 there. Right, these fellows here get down about 8 to 10 metres. They troll anywhere from 2 knots to 10 knots. And I drop them back about, probably the closest about 30 metres back. It'll end up being 20 metres behind the boat. It gets down a bit, maybe even 15. So 30 metres, 45 metres, 60 metres. And if you want to drop out one more other one, I'd probably do a Helco, something in that category, deep diving. They don't get down as deep as those fellows. That'll be my furthest one back. That fella's going to be around about probably 60 metres back at least. So you just got to watch out other guys trolling around, you don't run over your line. With those out the back, these ones here are fairly close. So Stewie's, he went jigging say out wide, he's flogged. So he didn't turn up tonight, I'm sorry. That's his favourite, the coral trout colour one. You've probably seen a lot of us catching fish on those. My favourite's the purple one, and I've caught heaps on the fusey colour, which is the fluoro and blue colour. In Helcos, probably our second biggest seller. These two are probably, especially that one there, is probably our #1 seller, King Brown, in the deep diver and the 190 DD. Really good lure. Bang for buck, these are pretty good too. They're around about that sort of just over $20. And this is an exclusive colour, but I don't know if you know this, guys, but this mackerel really like orange. Okay, orange or red. It's a colour not used by many companies, but now it is. It's getting more and more popular, and it is always the go-to, and hence why that coral trout colour works so good. But these two colours are both orangey red colours as well, and also work very well as well. So the traditional sort of slimy mackerel blue with the striped colour is nowhere near as good as those other two colours, as the purple and the orangey coral trout colour. I bet you if you put the 3 out, the other two are going to go before that one, all the time. Try it. So you go. Traditional colours, red and white, still works out here as well. Why does it work so well? Well, because everyone up north, that's all they use, red and white. That's why it works. But it does work out here as well. I'm not a big fan of it. Pilchard sort of colours, like this sort of colour here, looks good, as I was saying before, but doesn't work as good as the coral trout or the purple colour. Okay. In saying that, these are a couple of Rapalas in their new colours. They've conned onto it. So they're using a purple and orange one now as well in the CD. Has anyone here ever do marlin fishing with a witch doctor teaser? Has anyone ever done that before? You done it? You don't. You know how light it flicks off? So witch doctor teasers are a big tease that you use for marlin fishing, and the objective is they swim under the water about 1 metre down and they're mirrored, and when the light hits it, they flick off this light like twing, twing, goes 20 metres or 30 metres through the water, and that's what attracts the fish. So Rapala have been, since I was a kid, 50 years ago, been doing the metal bib at the front, which does the same thing. It flicks off light at the front, and hence why it's just such a great lure. They have never changed that system, and works very well. That's why those little lures work well, that went around earlier. Okay, so deep divers, not too far back, furthest back 60 metres, closest about 25, okay, when you're placing them out. Drop your longest lure out first, shortest lure last. don't ever drop your long lure through the short lure pack. It always gets caught up, especially if it's a haywire one that goes to the left or to the right into your spread. Guys, wire traces. Okay, so wire traces are for me a no-no, unless if I get bitten off by wahoo, I don't mind because that's just bad luck. I rarely get bitten off by Spanish mackerel. Maybe one lure a season. I might be trolling 20 or 30 times in the season. But I do lose into wahoo, but I can't do anything about it. I'll bite through a wire too, that thin wire. So what do we use? We use 60, I'll start at 80 pound, and if it's happening a bit quiet, I'll maybe go down to 60 or 40 as my leader. My leader length's about 1.5 meters to 2 meters. Just enough so I can get it close to the boat, grab it and gaff it, okay? So don't have it too long. The longest maybe 6 meters if you're using it overhead, not on a spin reel though. Spin reel, keep it under 2, overhead maximum 6. Okay, does that make sense? Next thing, snap swivel. I use a ball bearing snap swivel. That goes at the end of my leader and I hook it straight into the front of the lure. So no wire, just the leader, snap swivel on the front. Ball bearing preferably, size 4, 40 kilos, that's plenty enough for what you're doing. And if you get a tangle, it just works better. It doesn't doesn't twist your line up as bad. It spins. It doesn't lock and tangle the line really bad.
So Dougie, you wouldn't go a crimp to the lure with another crimp and then
Look,
the crimp?
If I'm running a wind-on leader, like 80 pound or 100 pound on say a 30 precise reel or something like that, look, I might crimp that on, but under 80 and under, I just tie it with a uni knot. Yeah. Quick, easy. I know it's all nice to do at home. You can have it all prepared if you want. Yeah. But after that first snap off, bite off, whatever, around the prop, it doesn't work after that. It's hard. Yeah. So learn to tie good knots. Yeah. So guys, I know a lot of people want to use wire because they don't want to lose your lure, but there's no point going there if you're not going to catch fish. So I'd rather say traces, but you should have some in the boat just in case. But yeah, so any questions on that at all, guys? Okay, next thing we want to do, so we've got the lures, we've got it all ready. Just got to check out our rod and reel. So what rod and reel we're going to use? Look, I'll use anything from like a TLD combo, TLD 20 is fine, 30 pound mono. This one does have a wind on leader. It's got I think it's an 80 pound wind on leader. That is 6 meters long or 5 meters long. But the most important part is that you have a gimbal on the bottom. This one has a little rubber gimbal, so the little slot that locks into your rod holder when you're trolling. You don't want the rod to do that in the rod holder and troll like that. It doesn't work very good, right? Spin reels do it, but spin reels are okay because they can work from underneath. But this one has to work from that way in the rod holder. So make sure it has that on there. Next thing is we've got to set our drag before we even drop that lure in the water. Sometimes I drop the lure in the water and straight away it's just screamed out because they've hit it, they've been following the boat. They've charged it, hit it. And if my drag wasn't set right, if I didn't push that lever up quick or my star drag or whatever, you're going to get either a massive tangle or you're going to get a snap line because your drag's too tight. So you need to pre-do it all beforehand. So at the strike position, I just sort of grab it, and Mark's already done it actually, but yeah, set it at about 5 kilos or 4 kilo. So you just know that feel. You're going to play with this later, but that's at about 4.5, 5 kilo. And that's got a snap swivel crimped on the end, as the gentleman was saying before, in the front here, mate. Thanks a lot, mate. Yeah, so it's ready to roll. I'll pass that around because it's not that tall. You can have a play with it. So set your drag, drop your lures out furthest one out the back. So I'll actually just quickly draw something real quick here. Look, my favourite spot to troll probably right now, if I was going to, I'm going to go Sunday, if the weather's half all right. I always debate, do I start on the 18 or 17, 18 fathom pinnacles off Southport, or do I go to the Diamond Reef? It's one of the two. Or I might go to the pin, but if it's blowing 15 knots, I'm not going to go to the pin, okay? So I love trolling baits, especially on the 18 fathom reef. So I may go out right before daylight, right on the crack of daylight. We call them trolling around lures and baits when it's this time of year it's probably daylight about 20 past 5 or 5:30 nearly. I will probably start trawling at about 4:45 in the dark and caught fish. Okay, so I'll do maybe I might burn out to the 24s. There's only like 10 minutes back into the 18s. Do 2 big laps around my marks. By that time, it's just cracking daylight. If I haven't got a bite by that time, especially if it's just cracking daylight, I'm going to rip those lures in and burn straight into the 18s and have a lap around there. That's what I'll do. And you'll see me doing it from if you're out there Sunday in the area. But so the this is I'll just say that's Currumbin bar there, and that's Tugun, Talabudra, Burley Head, Miami, and Seaways down here somewhere. So, how many people here from the south side of Gold Coast? Do you guys fish Currumbin or Tweed or up this way? Currumbin and Tweed, yeah. So look, it's probably worth a go. For Currumbin, my favourite area is the northwestern corner of Currumbin. I like that shallow area in there for Spanish especially. A lot of bait gets in there. They just seem to, and it's away from the pack, if that makes sense. You're just that side of them. But I've got a lot of fish on the southwest heading northeast away, just on the edge of the pack, if that makes sense. Trawling from southwest to northeast, which is my favourite trawl run no matter where I am on any reef. I seem to get more fish going that way. Okay. But just imagine, this is, that's Talabudra there, that's Currumbin. You've got a reef about here, and then the main reef sort of like this sort of shape. I like to trawl in this area here, and I might come out a bit and go back in again. Let's use a different colour here, sorry. This area here and there, but I've never caught much there, but I definitely caught them doing this run here. Have you guys caught any there at all trawling? You should have, yep. So, and the boats are all in here. And don't worry, you will get them in there too. Sometimes trawling down the middle if you've got the guts to go down the middle and no one's casting metals. I do that sometimes, but I distinctively look as if I'm trolling along here or here. I'm just thinking how many guys are casting metals because you can't troll. There might be enough gap between the boats for you to go between, but there's not when it's casting. I'll stab you. That's the area. If you're down at Mermaid, so how many guys here fish Mermaid? Anyone fished Mermaid before? You fished a little bit, mate. So Mermaid Reef, that's a bit further down this way. So that's Nobbies, and the pine trees here are Miami, okay? And you're pretty well straight out from the southern end of those pine trees. The shark nets are quite close along here, and the reef's pretty well similar shape to Palmy. It's like that sort of shape with a bit more up here. And I think it's the Jewel, is it? The Jewel High Rise. I don't know, there's like 3 of them or whatever, is about there. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and Q1's about here somewhere. So I like to trawl the inside here. I love trawling up and down here, Okay, you've got to work out on the day whether they're taking the lures going that way or that way. It'll be one of the two, but it can be going south, it could be going north. I think it depends on the current. If you've got a reverse current that's going north, you probably have to run north and catch them that way. But if there's a little bit of current trickle to the south, troll with the current, because they sit into the current. Okay. The other area I like to trawl, exactly as down here, is from this southwestern corner across to the northeastern corner. And I get a lot of fish in this area here. Okay, and I get most of my fish at on the inside. I get a few there, but I get most of them down here. Okay. And I get a few up here. If there's too many boats here, and it's just too hard, and you got guys that are trawling this way and wrecking up the trawl pattern, I will sometimes take a burn up here. It's only about a K up the road, and there's a coffee rock up here and troll that area up there. And sometimes the fish, especially Spanish, have been a bit quiet at mermaid, and they've moved away from the pack, from all the boats. Too much happening, and they'll move up you're just outside the shark nets. Okay. The gravel patch is sort of out here area. Does anyone here fish the gravel patch at all? Yeah. So gravel patch is one of those places where it's on fire or it's dead. It's just the way it is, and it's a bit of a run to get there, right? From where you are, 'cause it's that way, or it's a long way that way for us from up north here. So I try and get intel if they're happening there or not. Or ring up one of my mates who might be there and say you catch anything, you know. But if it's not happening at Palmy or Mermaid, then it may be worth a hit here. But generally speaking, if I was in that case, I'd rather go up to, there's another high rise here called Focus. It's that brown building. And straight out in front of that, you've got a shallow reef and a deeper reef. The shallow reef's in about 34 metres maybe, and the deeper one's in about 38 to 41 metres. It's sort of 41 comes up to 38. And it's only about a K apart, or K and a half apart. And that's always a great spot for trolling for Spanish. And it's, again, a bit like the gravel patch. It's a long way from there, and it's quite a fair way from there down.
Is that near the diamond?
No, it is. It's on about 27, 2759, or nearly 2800 latitude. So the diamond's about 2758 or 57, sorry. So it's about 5k south, or 4k south. So the diamond's out here sort of thing. Diamond's probably about here sort of thing. So it too has its own shape to trawl. Has any people here trawl the diamond reef at all? No? Okay. So it has a northern patch in closer. And it has quite an undulating sort of one that comes in a bit. So it's like about 2 or 3 k's long. It's fairly long, right? It's a long trawl. And you've also got some areas out here as well. So like that shape. So we normally start in on the closer area here, which I'll run through the marks a bit later, and try and hammer that top end there. And then once we get to, I've got a mark here, that's my pivot point, and then I trawl down to here, that's my bottom point, and I trawl into here. I like trawling this way, as I said, southwest to northeast sort of style. It's a bit more of an angle probably that way, sorry. It works really well. Then I come back up, I'll do the outside run and come back in here again. And that's how I do the diamond reef. So again, you're running that sort of southwest to northeast for most of the way up. But I have caught them going that way too, because I'm going with the current. Over here, I'm going sort of side on with the current. If there's a bit of current running south, I'm going against it, but on an angle. So it's not too bad, right? I just don't believe you catch much going straight into the current. Okay. So that's the diamond. And then the 17 fathom reef or pinnacles out the front of the seaway here is sort of, again, in a couple of different plots. There's like a southern area, and then there's like a northern area, and then there's a little bit sort of like that shape. And there's another little rock out here. And that's probably from there to there is probably about 1.5 k's, roughly speaking. And from there to there is probably about 600 to 700 metres. So it's quite a big area. Again, same deal. Start up here. Sorry, wrong one. Start up here, trawl here. Sometimes I'll go out wide here actually, then go down and then trawl up the inside and back out again. Or I'll reverse it and go down this way and go on my favourite run again, that way, and then back that way. I rarely go over the top of the reefs because there's always someone sitting on that bottom fishing, or you don't get the opportunity much. But early in the morning you do. But the bait can be sometimes, it's always on the pinnacle, but sometimes the slimies and the better bait's away from the pinnacle. So you got to try and find where the bait is too. Okay. So that's the areas I like to trawl. 12 fathoms out the front of this, this is a SeaWorld roller coaster here, okay? And 12 fathom reef is here, like this sort of shape. It's a bit, I'm trying to remember now, it's a bit like, I think in closer there, out wider there, that sort of shape. But it's about probably a K long and about 300 metres wide. And you could just do whatever you want there, but I find I'd never caught much there on lures. I caught definitely heaps there on baits, trying gar and surreys and tail and whatever. So that's the area to work. So from here out to here and down to here, it's like about a 12 to 15K area, roughly speaking. And you've got 4 or 5 really good spots to try in that area. So if you got your day plan, you get it, as I said, like, obviously don't get in the dark if this swells up. I didn't tell you that first up. So that's really important. No seaway, whatever. Oops, when you get out there, as I said, if I'm going to go Sunday, I'm going to go straight to here first. I'm going to troll here in the dark or just on cracking daylight. And hopefully got some fish. If I have, I won't worry about coming here. I'll try here maybe next time or Monday morning or whatever, another time. Because you can't get, you only get a couple and you're done. So
the furthest one out is Diamond.
It's a diamond reef, yeah. So that's about, on the outside edge, it's about probably 43 metres deep, I guess. And most of it's about 39. It comes up. So that's the diamond. Here's focus. Here's gravel patch. Mermaid, reef, and currumbin. Oh, palmy. And 18, we call this the 17 to 18 fathom pinnacles off the seaway. And that's 12 fathoms. So I got heaps of marks, heaps of areas to fish. That's 12 fathom bait reef. You can take a photo if you want to take a photo. But that's the sort of area to fish. Actually, we will do the GPS marks so you know where we are. Is that all right, real quick? So, that's my glasses. Okay, so we'll start down the bottom end. So Palmy. So Palm Beach Reef, 2806 is the latitude. These are called latitudes, the one that runs from west to east, or east to west. They're all very similar. So the 28006 is going to be the most, 06118 is going to be the most northern end up here. And the 2806463 is going to be the most southern one. So they're a third of a mile apart, or about, yeah, probably around about 8. Probably about 700 metres, roughly speaking, or 800 metres, which is probably about right. Okay, that way, from from the top one to the bottom one. So these will be troll runs. So if you put those 3 marks in, you'll see them on the screen. Just troll between them, okay, or around them. Mermaid Reef, same deal. So Mermaid Reef here, I've given you 2802502, which is going to be the southern end, and 2802388. That's not very far apart. It's only about 400 metres. And yeah, that's only like that area there. But that might be that little area there I like to fish, actually. Sorry. 172 and 3. Oh, sorry. 210. Yeah, it would be. That's it. It's only about 200 metres. So it's like 300 or 400 metres by 200 metres. So that's that area there at the bottom end. But when you get out there, have a look. Does anyone use Navionics on their phone? Yep. So if you've got Navionics, make sure you've got no good marks on there yourself, but go to Community, Edit, and then you share your marks with someone else's marks. And you'll see all these little red, if you zoom into like 200 metres of the area you're in, all these little red dots will start to appear, which is someone else's marks in that same area. So if you quickly, you can put a cursor on there and a trail mark, so plot trail mark, and you'll see yourself moving to the next red spot. But it'll also happen on your GPS, obviously. When you get to that red mark and a little fish come up and bait comes up on the sand, or maybe mackerel, straight away icon mark it. Okay. Then you've got a mark. This mark here might be, for example, there might be a mark out here, because if I've got mine turned on, they'll be all on. I'll try not to turn it on. But yeah, you'll be at that end. So you map it all out. And that's the beauty of trolling these things around, is that you get to quickly mark the reef that you're on. So it saves you a lot of time, especially if you're new to the area. Okay, so if you're new to the area, don't troll baits straight up. Unless you see someone catch a fish, and then you see someone else get one, get your baits to the water, because it's going to work better than your lures, generally speaking. Okay, so that's area. Sorry, I've got to do the other ones. Gravel patch, 2803, 28. So that's a fair big gap. So that's like about a mile long, or about 1.5k from one end to the other in town. Again, it runs a little bit sort of southwest to northeast type shape. I troll the inside, I troll the outside. I do both on there as well. I don't troll over the top much. Seaway, Easter Seaway. So the first mark is about here, about probably the pivot point. The second mark is about 500 metres south, and on the second mark's actually that's here. That's in close here. That's the 18s. Sorry, the second mark. So to give you some idea, I've got to draw this. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit crazy trying to tell you all these numbers, but you need to remember. Okay, 24 fathom diamond reef, right? It's roughly about 2756 south. If you head down another mile south, you'll still have reef at 2757, and that's 24 fathom reef.
How deep is that in meters?
It'll be about 42 to about 37 metres at the top of it, or 38, undulating. And then that's your south mark, okay? And then your east mark is going to be 153, around about 29,900, like it's pretty high, nearly 153.30. And your most eastern mark of it is going to be around about 23.31. So it's like about 1.5 k's wide, stretched out area, and about 2 or 3 k's long. So that'll actually go to 27,500. Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. Every time that number changes one, if it goes from 29 to 30, you've just gone 1 nautical mile, which is 1.8 k's. It's not 1.6 k's, it's 1.8 k's. And same with this number here. If I've gone on my latitude, if I'm up northern end of the reef up here, this is south obviously, up here, and I go from 2756 my GPS down to 2757, I've just gone 1.8 k's south. Does that make sense? And then if I went to 58, I've gone another 1.8 k's south. It's 1 nautical mile. It'll come. It'll come. Okay, so Easter Seaway, if you put all those marks in, you've got marks there that are, except for, I don't know why we got those last 2 marks there, but the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks are either 18 fathom reef or the diamond reef. The last 2 marks are great snapper and pearly marks. I don't know what they're doing in there, but keep those, put them in your GPS when you go out bottom fishing, okay? And Tweed Heads, guys, down Tweed Heads, you can do Tweed Heads, but if you're down Tweed Heads, look, anywhere from, they even get, I think you can get them the fish on the, is it the 10-minute reef, is it called? Oh, it's inside the mud hole, I think it is, or Fido's. Yeah, just inside of it though. So get a few mackerel there, but generally I'd head out to probably around inside the 9, around the 9 mile. Yeah.
The inside, not the back.
Oh, look, the inside is probably going to be, it depends on how gnarly the swell is. So I find mackerel don't really like gnarly conditions for some reason. The wahoo do, they like it, but not the mackerel. So if it's calm on the inside, do the inside, probably northern corner. Otherwise, if it allows you to troll up and down the outside, again, that runs on a northeast-southwest position too. Stick in about 85 feet deep in the old school, which is about 26 metres or 28 metres deep. Yep. And run on, stay that depth, and it'll actually take you from southwest to northeast again. Yeah. But you got to, unfortunately, down there, trolling these things around, you will get wahoo, which is a good thing. Chances of getting bitten off can be pretty bad, only because they've got a longer snout. The mackerel, that size of that lure is enough for it not to sort of bite it, unless you're unlucky. But a wahoo's snout can be like that long, and the lures on that side, you're going to get done straight away. But that's you get those at the. We've caught wahoo at the gravel patch. Caught wahoo definitely in the backside here, especially around about April, May. But not intentionally fishing for them, we're fishing for mackerel. You know. But down the 9 mile, that's those marks there as well, which is the Tweed ones. And I think the ones that are 28, so 153.35 is in the inside. The 153.37 is at the 9. The 153.46 and 47, again, don't know why. I think I put those in there as the mackerel aren't biting. So go snapper fishing and pearly fishing. And then the other spot, guys, is jumping pin area. So it's a bit of a run for you guys down south. Unless can you guys tow your boat up or you drive it up? You can tow it up, yeah. So look, the jumping pin area is phenomenal fishing later in the season. It is the best, better than out here. So out here should be really hot now, right? Anywhere from, you get them still mermaid and palmy, but Southport works best from March through to about probably late April, early May. And then anywhere from late March to early May, same deal. We do a lot of fishing up at the pin, and particularly late April, May. For some reason, the fish always start down at palmy and then they sort of go reverse back up that way. A lot of those fish, though, are fish that are from, that is now down as far as Southwest Rocks, so. Because it's such a hot, tight current down there at the moment. There's a lot of mackerel way down south. So once that hot current gets pulled out and it starts to get really cold real quick, they nick off back up this way. But they seem to bypass you guys down that way and end up at the pin every year. Don't know why. Yeah, it's just the way they are. It's the same. Why do they not stop at the pin or the seaway before they go down to Crumban? I don't know why. They don't. They bypass us. Yeah. So you guys get them way before we do. Yeah, just the way it is.
For a novice,
yes.
Who hasn't been down to hasn't been to the pin from the seaway. You said you wouldn't go if the conditions weren't good to southeast because you're coming back from good.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So if it was blowing like a 15 to 20 knot, we're going to blow 15, 20 knots subtly, say at lunchtime. And if the fish are on the bite though, or you got a bite time like 10, you're like, oh, I'll just hang in there, you know. But that front hits you, it's a bit yucky. If the smell's not too bad, it's not too bad, you know. You just punch your way back. But if there's a bit of swell, it can be a bit ugly. And the jump in bar is such a bad bar to come through. It's good when there's a swell under, say, 1.5 metres. It's not too bad. Even run out still breaks. But if you go to Sudley and you think, oh, just the pin bar's only just there, I'll just go through that. It doesn't work most times.
Doesn't?
No, because it'll break across the pin bar, unless you're a good bar crosser. No, yeah. So I'd be choosing a day that's under 15 knots, up to 15 max. Yeah. How big is your boat? 5 metres?
5.3.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, so long as you know your boat, and if it always does come up rough, I always say to guys, just concentrate, don't have all your weight down the back of the boat and be too heavy, because you get a lot of water in the back of the boat. It just happens. It gets lower to the sea level and all the spray ends up in the back of the boat. You get a lot of water in the boat. So try and balance your boat out a bit better. Get the guys be midship, or if you've got a set of console, around that console. Yeah, side console, yeah, okay. Yeah, you get another seat on that side, opposite you, sort of thing.
Movable seats.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So just try and keep it all centre.
So there's
Yep.
mobile seats.
Yeah, just try and keep it all centre. You'll be right. And just keep your nose, just sort of get just on the plane with the nose up, okay? But just be careful when you drop down, when you got sea coming at you, and especially there's a bit of current against it, it sort of curls a bit at the top. Just be careful, you got to throttle off on the wave, and when you drop in, sometimes it'll fall in the boat. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does, exactly. So be careful.
Doesn't impress me too much, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay, so everyone got that all right? The Spanish mackerel, trolling with lures, done. Okay. Oh, last thing. Okay, so we're trolling with lures, right? And one hooks up. Like it's screaming off. You got the ratchet. Don't forget to make sure you put your ratchet on. You'll hear the line zipping away if it's not on, but you won't hear it if you're talking to your mates and you've got music blaring away. And you look back and it's all done. Okay, so you had the ratchet on. Second thing, you're doing 6 knots, right? So 6 to 7 knots, or 5 to 7 knots is a good speed with the hard bodies. And then you hook one up. Don't stop straight away. Please don't stop straight away. If you're trawling into the wind, and it's like we do all that trawling, for your hook up, I'll slowly, while it's still screaming out, slowly point the boat around because it's going to turn around the wind anyhow, and try and get the boat around to come downwind. Does that make sense? While it's still peeling line out. In that 20 seconds, whatever it is, hopefully another lure takes off. Don't get your mates to one of the lures up yet. Just hang on till you get your lines back to the fishes out there. Now you're now downwind from him. Okay, now it's a lot easier for you. And then get your other lures in. Okay, sometimes you wind them in fast, and they'll jump on it, you know. A lot of that sort of happens too. At that time, also before your mates wind the lines, and you drop back to about 2 knots. But don't stop, just keep it going slowly forward all the time. Then when you fish close to the boat, they may do a run around the front again. Look, if you may have to go back into the wind again, depends on what sort of fish it is, a big one or a small one. Sharks can alter their pattern as well, so they might be fighting nicely, and then a shark will be up his arse, and it'll come around the other side of the boat real quick. You don't know what's going on, thinking it's going hard, but then you realise there's a shark up its date. So that can then do turmoil as it goes across the front of the boat, especially if you've got a half cabin boat, with lots of aerials and stuff hanging up. It just depends on your boat and the conditions. But when you get the fish close to the boat, make sure you've got a gaff, as I say always. Make sure the rubber's off the end here. Okay, and when you get the fish, you're slowly going forward. Get your mate to step back when the fish is like just about where the gentleman's there, and you grab the leader. And as you grab the leader, come in behind it as you're pulling it and come up around his head area and straight into the boat. Whack, whack, whack on the head, or put him straight into a chill bag or whatever. Don't try and get the lure out while it's in its mouth going crazy, okay? If you haven't subdued it, or it's just too hard to get to with pliers even, I'd suggest that you just unclip the lure off, or just cut the line and tie another lure on and get it back out there again and go back to your trawling pattern. Really important too, very, very important. When you get that ratchet screams off straight away, before you even look at the line, push the icon on your GPS, okay? Really important. Because then you know where, yeah, man overboard's fine, mate. That'll take the boat back around there. But yeah, it's really important that you know where that is. And then when you go back next time, because you might have been blasé and talking to your mates or something, the reel's taken off. But if you looked at the sounder, you probably realise, oh, there's actually mackerel on the sounder there. You know? So next pass you go over, you'll see all that. All good? Okay. Just while we're doing Spanish, I'll just talk about this real quick. If the day ever is where you're getting like just endless hits, they're the day you cast stick baits at them. Okay, it's pointless casting stick baits if the fish are not interested on anything on the day, because it's a lot of hard work unless you like casting. But if you know the fish are on the bite, or it's a situation there's a lot of bait around and you see the odd mackerel jump out of the water, cast a stick bait. If you want to get one, just tick that bucket list. Have a stick bait around that sort of size, and cast on about probably minimum 50-pound braid, 60-pound leader, and just cast with the wind. So casting with the wind down into the wind, because they always seem to sit into the wind as well. They chase the bait, or the bait moves up against the wind all the time. They're following it up against the wind. So you're on the right side of it to cast back to it. You're not casting into the wind trying to catch up to them, because they're continuously running away. So you go up the front and cut them off at the pass and cast back. And you just need, like if you haven't got a proper popper stick bait rod, you just want something around 7 foot, 5,000 size reel minimum, 40, 50 pound braid minimum, and 60 pound leader. That's all you need. And have some fun. When you cast it out, just do big rakes like so, and then take up slack and then rake it again. And it's sort of like it's doing this sort of thing through the water. Don't try and hold the tip up and wind fast and get it jumping over the joint. Those days up the reef when the fish are just massively everywhere and they used to jump on it, don't work down here very well, okay? Mel Florence days. Yeah, so just rake it, let it sit, rake it, let it sit. You'll see the fish actually maybe zip and just miss it. It's pretty spectacular. Yeah. Okay. What do you do after you catch 2 fish or your 3 fish? What is the limit now? Is it 4 people, maximum 4 fish? Is that right in Queensland? I think it's please let us know. Look, it's 1 fish if you're 1 guy in the boat. It's 2 fish if there's 2 guys in the boat. But I think if you've got 10 guys in the boat, it's still a maximum of 3 or 4. 4 is it? I think it's 4. I think it is, you're right. Which is better than what it was last year. 3 of us to go out there and we'd do 1 pass and bag out 2 fish. It was pretty bad. But if you want to keep catching fish, the problem is sharks. So if you're in an area and the fish are biting, which they will be, and you've already got your bag limit, it's good fun to still catch them, but the trouble is the sharks will soon hone in on you, and you won't get the next fish, 6 fish, you'll probably only get 6 heads, or maybe 2 lures lost and 4 heads, because they'll bite you off. Okay. There's snapper marks there. Go east. Okay. Leader wise, look, what do I use? I go down to 40 pound trolling my lures. 40 is the minimum I'll use, okay? If things are a little bit quiet and fussy, they're fussy, as I said earlier, I said I'll start at 80, 60, 40. And it doesn't take you long to tighten FG, it takes a few minutes, that's it. Just quickly change, or change just change one of the 3 or 4 lines you got out. If that one starts getting bites, it could be the lure colour, maybe, but probably because of your leader. And the lures swim nicer and they don't see it and whatever it may be. So sometimes you've got to alter your technique. I don't use fluorocarbon for trawling. It doesn't have enough shock. It's too aggressive. And if you're using braid, it's super too aggressive. So you've got all the chances you got. Yeah. It's not too bad when you're fighting the fish, it's when you're trawling. So that impact at 6 knots, it's too aggressive on your gear. Okay. Any more questions on that at all? Okay, we're going to go to baits now for the Spanish mackerel. So we've done our laps and we've maybe got 1 fish or 2 fish, or we thought, okay, let's just try baits anyhow. Look, there's an array of rigs that you can use and make yourself. My suggestion is you learn to tie rigs yourself. We sell them all, and we make them all here. Like these things here, whether it be that skirt or the normal skirt or whatever colour skirt, you can just buy whatever colour skirt you want and put on there. We sell about, I don't know, 300 of these a season, I guess, these things that we make in-house. We actually start making them before Christmas, around about October. Just chip away at it. But all you need is some single strand wire. Now you guys have got some wire in your little bag there. I think it's around 60 something pound. 69 I think it is, but this is, or 60 pound. You can see it's very short trace, okay? Again, too long, too visible, okay? Keep it short, keep it neat, and with your single strand wire it's very hard to see and it's very hard to bite off. But you need to learn to do what's called a haywire twist. Okay, you can jump online, it shows you how to do it, it's quite easy. You just need a little pair of pliers and you wrap one, about that much, I'll show you. This way, it's easier to show you. Let's do some wire. Does anyone have any wire in their bag at all? I can just line for a sec. I'll do your haywire twist. Thank you, my friend. Cheers, mate. Thank you. So I'll explain as I'm doing it, then you'll get the gist of it. But this is good to keep in the boat all the time. If you are getting done and they are aggressive and you just can't get one without getting bitten off, then you'll need to use wire. That's when you have to use wire. It's easier to work with if you actually cut a section off. And don't be scared to waste a bit, if that makes sense. I don't know if this will cut this, but I'll give it a crack. Yeah, it does. Good. So, wire just like so, right? So, all you do, you need to have about that much sacrifice, which is about probably, I don't know, 60 mil long, okay? And then you just wrap it over the top and make a little loop. Now, I'm need pliers here, don't I? No pliers, that's right, I'll use my hands. Okay, so what you need to do, you've got that one over the top of the main one, right? You need to go from underneath and hold that first loop and twist it, okay? Need pliers, really. And then underneath and twist it. And underneath and twist it. Underneath and just need pliers. Need pliers. Slipping in my hand and twist it. And what that does, it wraps the wire around. If anyone who does fencing wire, you know what I mean. But it wraps the wire around each other. If you just hold it and try and twist it from this top, it only wraps it around the one. And when you get a fish on, it just unravels. But when it's around each other, it's very hard to unravel. You only need to do 3. 3's enough. 3 or 4 max. When you pair of pliers to do the third one, so I'm not going to do the third one. When we get to that point there, this is the main one, and this is the other one. So I'll do the pair of pliers. Sorry, it's not going to work. I'll try and hold it here. So you need to then just you go around the one about 6 times, okay? It's not going to work very good here. Sorry, guys. It's a bit dodgy, isn't it? I need a pair of pliers. Miss Hako, if you're watching, can you give me a pair of pliers, please? I'll come back to that. Is that all right? Sorry. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. I'll give you wire back in a minute, mate. Sorry, buddy. But you need to put wire in there. Okay, next thing. This is if you're going to make your own. And I'll pass this around and you can see how it's done. You need to then finish. So this one here, what you do to get that off, you do not cut your wire with a pair of slide cutters. Because when you go to grab it to trace or whatever, it's going to rip a big chunk out of your finger. You need to just work it back and forth, or do a little crank handle on it, and it'll snap off, but there's no burr. Okay. Come down the bottom end here, we do the same haywire twist again. But before we do that, we put on the spring. Okay, these are called gas springs. We have them downstairs. That locks the bait in position. So when we do our next haywire twist, we leave about that long sticking up. But we do cut it at the top here, okay? That's going to be used later to go through the fish's mouth. And then we put on a set of gang hooks. So whether it be that style or something like that style there, you can buy them pre-made, whatever. That gets put onto the wire down here. These leads here, you can buy them here somewhere. Here, 2 sizes. There's a little one for spotties and a big one for Spanish, or spotties. And it's got a split in it, okay? I'll just pass those around. And that, you fold one side over the hook with a pair of multis or pliers, and then fold the other side on top of it, okay? Like so. And that's your weight. That's going to make the fish swim like that. Okay. And let's add any colour skirt you want. And then when we put a bait on, see if these baits are soft enough, I'll pass this around. So we'll use a sari. Just imagine it's a nice big gar, 3x2 gar, right? So what I do is I measure it out so that goes through about where he's, just below his eye, that spike. So it goes through here. So I'm going to start my first hook off roughly about here somewhere. I'll just do it at the top so it doesn't get blood and guts everywhere. When you put it in, it's a little bit frozen. Push it down. Next one. Push it down. Next one. Push it down. Oh. Okay. This is the first time I've done this, okay? I'll go back a bit. I was holding it sort of skew with. I'll do that. So push it in, push it in, push it in. The only thing wrong with flat side hooks like 777, 666, they're very strong, but they get a bit stuck trying to manipulate them. But anyhow, and then the last one here is going to go down through his face and come out in the dead set stand. That's really important. That's it. And then I get the spring, hold that up, put the spring down, it's stuck. And the spring goes around, there's a little end on the spring, and it goes around and just keeps screwing around till it gets really tight on his face and locks up. Just getting about now. Okay, then that's it. And then what I do then is I pull this down. And I sort of try and pop that through the skirt just to hold it in place, if that makes sense. That's it, right there. I'll rig up these other baits at the moment as well, but I'll pass it around in here and you'll get the gist of how it looks. It's a bit stinky, sorry guys.
So you're not exposing the
No, their teeth are so sharp, mate. They'll just rip it off and they'll be hooked. Yeah, and make sure the hooks are sharp. Really important too. You can bend not the hook end, but the eye end. Bend it facing down, so it sits further up into the body again, and it works really well.
And Dougie, I know you got the reapers on the table there.
Yeah.
Would you
If you're charring, so, say 40 to 45 centimetre tailor,
Yeah.
or really big bonnies, but definitely for big slimies or saris or gar, and that it's too sloppy and it's too big. Yeah. It's sort of like that size, you know. So when you put the pin down, there's like a skinny thing at the gap inside of it, and even the head doesn't quite sit in the right. But they're good for really big baits. It's snug, it's nice.
Yeah.
But we don't try really big baits here so much, you know. So yeah, up north they do. Yeah. Okay, so while it's going around, so once we've got the baits rigged up, so I'd rig up a Sari is really good bait, which is that thing going around. Gar's really good, so I've got 3x2 gar. We normally have good gar here, but gar sees that we've run out of our old gar, and the new gar doesn't come to about, normally the season's nearly over, which is about April, May. So that's when we get good gar in again. I haven't spoken to anyone who's catching it at the moment. But so the gar are called 3x2 gar or 5-spot gar. They're the two gar you got to use. When you get a gar, it's a little bit different to these fellows because these fellows are like a pilcher, they're quite soft. But the garas are quite hard and tough. And there's a silver line runs inside the gar. You reach over the top of the gar, start at the tail end, and squeeze on that. Make sure it's defrosted, of course. And squeeze in on that silver one as you're going along, all the way up to the head. And it pops the meat off the back of his skeleton. And it becomes a bit deeper, but it becomes really, really soft. Okay? So, as in not soft to break apart, but soft to swim. And it makes it much better. Next thing you do is turn him upside down and get your thumb, and from where his gill is, just push down, not really tight. Thanks, mate. Sorry for getting up and down all the time. Cheers, my friend. Thank you. Once you, so you turn the gar upside down, you pop his back off, and then you turn him upside down, put the thumb where the gill is, and push down to his bum hole, and that'll squeeze out all that seaweedy crap out of his stomach. Because what happens there is when you're trawling, the bit of water gets in his gills and it pushes out to the back, and then it blows the back out. But if you do that first, it doesn't happen. It will eventually happen after maybe 2 hours, but you're in the wrong spot if you haven't got a fish by that time. So it does that. So that's gar, and you put it on exactly the same as I put that sari on, okay? Slimies, a little bit different, as in we generally put on one of these because they're a little bit more big and buoyant, right? So it's hard to get them to swim. So I'll put on a weight just maybe a metre or 2 metres up from my leader. So I'll actually use a swivel or a ring and put that on there, and then another one just above it. So it's fixed on the line. Do the mackerel see that and bite it off? I don't think I've ever been done on that. I've been done on my rig, but not that. And it just helps to get it down and swim a bit better. Because you're using like even a slimy that size, which is a fairly decent slimy, they're quite chunky and they will actually sometimes roll over, and they just don't do it always good. To do it properly, you've actually got to split his lip at the front here. So we use a little bit different rig to that one there. Still use the same weight on the first hook though, but we actually pull the wire so that the top of the hook's here. There's no spike cuts to the top, and then I'll cut his, split his nose in half back to nearly his eye. Then I pull that the wire up through there, and then I'll run a piece of a bait needle and some wax thread and tie it up at the top here and actually pull it from the top here. So then it swims beautifully like that. But the only way you can counteract that is to actually use something like that to keep it down there and make it swim nicely. If you just do that type of rig, the next size down is okay, but not that size. Okay, and that's the same with bonito too. You have to split the front. Bit difficult for tonight, that one, but another time. But they swim beautifully. The other thing too with these fellows too is you actually crack the tail. This is actually half frozen, but it's broken now. So that actually will swim. It'll actually do that in the water. So you just break it without breaking the skin. You cannot break the skin. Just snap it. Internal. Bait presentation is like important, but when they're hungry, it doesn't matter. You can have the bait spin around in circles and they'll eat it. Drop it back and next one just takes off in your hand, you know. They're hungry, But when they're not hungry and they're fussy, down the leader, get it swimming nicely, put more weight on. Sometimes they're down low. Mackerel will come up 20 metres easy to your bait. They'll see it, they'll come up. They'll be down there on the sounder, your lines are up here somewhere, but they'll come up to you, no problems at all. So you don't necessarily have to have down rig and get down amongst them. It does work a lot better though, but they will come up to you. And there's always one swimming around the top anyhow. Okay. There are other rigs as well. There's like the bait keel, like this type of thing here, which you can buy pre-rigged. Those hooks are a bit small though. And that goes up through the top and you use a rubber band around it. It's a little bit different system, but they work quite well as well. And that's a bigger one, this one. There's a big one downstairs. That's another style as well. This is called chin guards. You've probably heard chin guards. That's that style. It's a similar system. They've got 2 spikes in there. Runs up through the bait. And just run a short bit of wire on the front, 60 to 80 pound. A little black swivel at the front of that, tie your line to the black swivel, which is your 40, 60 to 80 pound leader. Okay. And those things, I'll actually use that on the pilchard. So any questions on that? Yes?
How many knots we
Yeah, good question. I'm about to draw that for you now, Johnny. You're always one step ahead of me, mate. So, this is my boat. 2 rod holes at the back here, always face out. Your next one's up, always facing a bit of an angle, like so, like so, like so, like so. This fella here, I'll troll 4 baits if I can. Okay, 3 is good, but if you can get away with 4, do 4. It's up to you guys. 2's minimum. If you solo, 2's about it. If you got 2 guys in the boat, 3. If you got 3 guys in the boat, 4. I wouldn't do 4 with 2 guys. It's a little bit. Oh, you can, but it's a bit tricky. So this one here is going to be about 25 metres back. Similar to trolling with marlin, but a little bit further out. About 35 metres back. About 45 metres back, and this one here is about 60 back. Does that make sense? For your baits. Now, the ones that are here are going to have the heaviest lead on them. Okay, the shortest, the heaviest, the longest, the lightest. LL, long, light. Okay, if you remember that. Why is that? Because we put this heavy, it'll end up coming back to about here somewhere, and when these turn, they'll get caught up. This one's lighter, and it'll go to the top of the heavy one and get caught up. So you want to keep it all spaced out perfect. So heavy, heavy, L, L. Does anyone here use downriggers for trying baits for mackerel yet?
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so downriggers are really good, only because you don't need to do all this sort of thing and adjust your weights and whatever, right? But they're about, to set it up properly, about $800 to get a good one. That's with the weight and everything goes with it. But you use rubber bands in your line. So what you do, if you use the downrigger, just for, let's say you want to know this. Anyone here got electric reels at all? No electric reel guys here? Okay. You can use electric reels too on a little downrigger rod, okay, which is more popular because guys go deep dropping when they're not using them.
Yeah, righto.
Just buy a different rod, $280 is whatever it is. So the beauty of the electric reel is you just push the button and it winds itself up. So if you're fishing solo, you can set it at 1 or 2 meters from the top. And then as soon as you hook up, you push that button and you go and grab your rod out and play the fish in, and that one's winding up. It'll stop just at that point where you want it to stop at, and it's out of the way. Okay. Hand downrigger though, which is most ones we sell downstairs. We do have an electric one down there too. But someone's got to be in the boat with you to wind it up. If you're solo fishing, you've just about got to leave it down there and fight the fish, or get your other lines in plus to fight the fish, because it gets too hard. So the easy way is to do this way. So this line here, the closest in one, I might put 2 of those on there. Okay, so if I'm running a downrigger, sorry for the guys at the back here, but okay, everyone got that all right? Okay, so these 2 lines here, the 25 and 35, this is now the back of the boat here in the water, the motor on here, and you got one rod holder here, another one here sort of thing. So this one here, if you've got a downrigger, say this is actually the downrigger here, sorry, and this line's attached to the downrigger. So how you do is you drop your line back like about, I don't know, 25 metres or 30 metres back. 25 metres is enough. And then at the most actually, and then you put a size 16 rubber band onto your line. So you hold the one end of the rubber band, you go around the top of the line about 8 times and pull it through the bottom loop, right? And then on the end of your downrigger ball, which looks like this, it's got like a little loop here, a little loop here. This little loop here, you have like a tether, like just a piece of like VB cord, but it's actually Dacron, about 200 pound. It's only about that long. And on the rubber band here on your line, you you just do a half hitch through the loop on the rubber band. Does that make sense? So just do like a half hitch on the rubber band. And now that then 30 metres there, when you attach the ball to it, it then goes down with the ball. So you put it back in a free spool and hold your thumb on the spool, because this goes down fairly quick. And your line that was out here now gets pulled down. Let's just say now the bottom's down here somewhere. It's the bottom down here. So you drop it down. If you're in, say, that's on the 24s, I'm in about 40 metres, and I like to troll about 28, so I drop my line down about here somewhere, and that's got the downrigger. So the angle is actually not quite as good as that. It's actually about that angle there behind the boat. It's actually not straight down, even because you're doing only 1 or 2 knots, Johnny, quite slow, but it's still a bit of an angle. And then my rod, the line goes down here. This has got the ball on it here. It's clipped on the rubber band, and my bait's swimming back here somewhere. Does that make sense? Okay. Then what you do is you adjust it, so you wind the line up on your rod, so the rod's actually bent. Not a very good rod. Is actually bent with the line like that when you're trawling. So it's complete opposite to when you're fishing. So when you get a strike, it actually flicks up, goes the reverse roll. So that when that goes up to here, I know I've got a strike. This is popped out. This is now out here somewhere, and you've got to wind really fast to take the slack up, and the fish is on there running somewhere. You'll catch up pretty quick. But you've still got to get this up out of the way, and the fish is swimming around you, right? So that's the only problem. but you definitely get a lot more fish. Getting back to what we were saying before, with the sinkers, so this is the back of the boat. My line, actually make it smaller, sorry. My line that's got the two of those sinkers on it, these ones, sorry my hand, two of those together with a swivel and a ring or whatever either side of it. Back of the boat's here, bottom's down here. With two of those on, I'm nearly down with the down rig. My rod's sitting probably about that angle down. And it's going to be down here somewhere, trolling along. Okay. With one of those on, which is my other rod on the other side of the boat over here, it's with one on, it's about that angle. That's going to be about there, swimming along. And then my other one with the one going around that we rigged up, it's going to be, it's on the side rod over here. It's going to be sitting probably about that angle. It's the top of the water here. And the other one's going to be exactly the same, but they're different spaces apart. Does that make sense? So 2 sinkers on the line here, 1 sinker, rig bait, and a further out rig bait. And that's your 4 rig baits. Does that make sense? And that's exactly how I do it. Yes, mate?
So the spread that you had,
Yep.
what you've been telling us here,
Yep.
if I was using reapers on
A reaper? Okay.
would it pretty much be
It's got to be those 2. Yep, so you just don't use that one. Or you put I use that one, but you put a sinker on it, just to get it down out of the way. So the reapers go down about probably 1.5 meters, I guess, but they swim. That's the beauty of them. The bib makes them swim. Yeah, where they're going to just be, they do swim, but just the shape of the fish makes it swim. Yeah.
And the spread that you showed before,
Yep.
the 25, 35, 40,
Yeah.
60,
Yeah.
I'm solo most of the time.
I'd only put
So-
2 out. So I'd run.
Which ones would
Yeah,
you do
I like it.
that?
I like it a long way back.
So
So
the
drop out
45
the 2 close ones and go 40 and 60. So, yeah. Just remember that, guys, too.
Would you put extra weight on those?
I'd probably put a reaper and maybe just that rig, because that will be different depths. The rig actually get down deeper than the reaper. But the beauty of the reaper is you can trawl it. So most of your bait fishing, as John was saying, for what speed, you're trawling it just in gear. So if I see a school of mackerel on bait that's down, if I'm in that 40 metres and it's down 28 metres, say for example, which seems to be the magic depth for the mackerel to sit at in the 24 fathom reef, I'll actually pull it back to neutral and let my baits fall down into it, and then I'll pop it back in gear, just in gear, and pull them up through it, and that's when you get a strike a lot of time. If you ever do a lot of trawling with baits, you find you get a lot of strikes when you turn. And the reason why that happens is when you turn, the bait actually sinks down. Then when it's a bit like if you ever been on a ski or a tube behind a boat, when you turn it slows down, all of a sudden it whips you out. It's the same with your baits. So they sink down, and then as you turn around and you start to go straight again, they go from that slow down to like that, and that's when the fish hits it. The fish is following it and it's looking at it, and all of a sudden it takes off, they nail it. So you get a lot of strikes on the turn. Don't turn sharp though, because you run over your lines. Slow turn, gradual turn, but yeah. Does that all make sense? Okay. Okay. Apart from that, with baits, look, baits don't tend to last as long as lures, of course, because they either get chewed off or they get fatigue. And if it's a bit rough and the boat's bouncing around, there's a lot of movement on your rod and whatever, they can start to fall apart if it's not good bait. I have 2 lines, 2 baits rigged, ready to roll all the time. Keep them just wrapped up in a wet towel, sitting on the bait board. So if I wind one in, it looks a bit shitty, or I get a strike and I missed it, I'm straight away, I clip on the next one. I use a clip always at the end of my line. And I clip on to even that little one before, that other bait there before, I actually use a clip onto that little swivel.
Are you still running that PLD style combo?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Or I run, I didn't say before, I like running spin reels as well. So I use like, no smaller than about a 6 or an 8,000. 6, 8 and 10's a real good size to trawl with. And 40 to 65 pound braid's really good. if you want to use trawl braid. So I trawl half and half. I use half mono, half braid. I don't see any difference really, to be honest. If anything, I like the braid more. I see everything. I see little wax. I see everything. Where the mono's a bit, you don't really see it all the time. Yeah. The other thing too is some guys in the come to the store here will top shot their braid with mono, so they only run like a 20 or 40 metre, which is probably less than they're trawling half the time, but it's had a long shock. And then it might be 40 pound braid with 30 pound mono leader or 40 pound mono leader on top. And I'll just do whatever knot, PR knot or whatever, knot to join it. Yeah. Anyhow, it's something you got to experiment with whether you want to use braid or mono. That's up to you guys. Mono, and then overhead versus spin for trawling. That's up to you guys too. Both work. Both work really well. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions on that one? Yes.
Sneakers, do you put them like
Together.
together?
Together. If it's going to be two together. Yeah.
Fix them up there, or let them
No, I run them pretty tight. So I run two swivels or a swivel and a ring, a solid ring. This was, it's easy for me to rig up. But two swivels is okay as well. And yeah, I'm using a bit heavier line though in that section. So if I'm running 40 pound lead or 60 pound leader, I'll run 80 or 100 in that little section. Just tough. There's a bit of movement around all the time. We don't want to wear because that could break off, you know, because you're actually fighting that as well when you're fighting the fish. It's on the line the whole time. And remember that when you get that close to the boat, it's quite, it can actually rip the, I've lost a couple of fish where it's actually the weight of it the fish swings around and it rips the hooks out because it's like something jerking off the end of the line, right? And it pulls the hooks out. A couple of times it's happened to me over the years. Yeah. But 99% of the fish I caught, so yeah. But I only use the two sinker one if they're lazy and don't want to come up to your baits. I'll just quickly draw. Do you all know how they look on the sounders? Anyone does not know what mackerel look like? Because you're going slow, you get a different view of the fish. When you trawl, you don't see this that much when you trawl on the hard bodies, but you will see it trawl on baits. So, this is your sounder. I don't know if you guys split your screen or whatever you do, but if you don't split your screen, it doesn't matter. But say that's 0 and that's 50 metres, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And the bottom's at about, say, 42 metres sort of thing. Might come up to like 35, come back down again. A bit of bumpy here. And that distance you might have travelled over might be 400 metres or something, 300 metres. There might be baits stacked up here on top. And go down the side here a bit. And that one as well, and probably a little bit here. And the mackerel will come up just like lines. They look like lines because you're going so slow, it like stretches. Does that make sense? So there may be some up higher here sort of thing. They'll just look like that. Has anyone seen that yet out there at all on your sounder? That's how it looks. They're not little curves like that. If you're going fast, they'll look like that if you've got a good sounder. But generally they'll look like that sort of thing. These might be a few more up higher here as well. And that's how they are. So that's 10 metres, 20, 30, 40. So these are 20 metres. So these guys are going to easily eat your baits that are sitting around here somewhere, or your lures, hard body. These guys here probably come up to as well. But if they're a bit quiet and it's not happening, if you do that sinker thing like before, like at 18 metres, your bait's going to be down here. Like that's 20. It's going to be around this area. So these guys, you just about dragging through them. Does that make sense? So you need to work out in the day. So try not to use sinkers straight up. Unless you have, if it's not happening, then you might have to put weight on and drop it down deeper.
Would you ever just turn the motor off and have a drift and just drop
Look,
it
yeah,
back
if we got live baits, we do.
Yeah.
We drift with live baits, but really, I prefer trawl because they're moving all the time too.
Yeah.
Okay, so unless they're there's a patch there, a patch there, and a patch there, and a patch everywhere. Sometimes I've seen them all the way across the whole screen. There's forever mackerel, you know. There must be huge schools sometimes. When those days when you get heaps of bites. But if you get a drift, sometimes wind against current, you don't even move. You just set the one spot. So unless they're feeding that one spot, you're not going to get the chance as much. Yeah. So better to go slow troll. Slow troll works really well. I think they like that little bit of movement, you know. Yeah. Now the last thing I can tell you about for swallowing in Spanish is trolling with live baits. So live baits are really good as well. Probably the best if your chance of getting a mackerel on the day. And if you can get liveys, well, you're going to troll those in the dark. You can't get liveys in the dark, so you're definitely going to have your hard bodies out first. After that, it's still hard to get live bait until that sun pops its head up. So definitely worth trolling a couple of baits around. And then at, say, 6 o'clock, if you haven't got a fish by then, which you should have, if you haven't, then I'd quickly drop a bait jig down when you're trolling around. You've marked some really good bait schools like that. I'd drop the bait jig down, get the bait, and then put the bait straight. First one goes straight on the live rig like so. No sinker, no nothing, okay? And all you do is you put that through his nose or through there and out. Put that on first. Then this one here, just put it up his inside under his belly sort of thing. One piece of the treble. The other two just hang out to the side, okay? And slow troll. And it works really, really well. No sinker at all. Look, it's one of the things with liveys, they just, I don't know if it's the action of the livey or what it is, but they really hone in on it. They'll swim 30 metres up till they get the livey. They must see it, feel it, I don't know what it is.
Fairway back still?
Fairway back still, yes, totally, yeah. But one thing I find with liveys is if you've got a downrigger, they do work really good. So, but I never had the chance, because I've always got the limit now, to drop it down on a sinker. I never had to try it. So got to drop it down at the back, and it works really well. This that same rig you'll catch spotties as well. The spotties out here at the moment are quite decent, so they're nearly like Spanish mackerel size, like a metre, you know. They're bloody big, 6 kilos, 7 or 8 kilo. Okay, the last thing I want to tell you about, I'll just go to the Spanish. The last thing was jigging. Does anyone here jig at all? Like jig? You do a little bit, mate? Yeah. So jigging's another new frontier on mackerel as well. And this is the sort of stuff that they'll like. These jigs are the sizes you'd use, probably 80 to about 150 max. But I reckon 80 to 120 is going to be the go, that sort of thing. There's some of the colours coming out now are just ridiculously good. You just know they're going to get eaten. Well, they look like a slimy, you know, not pilchard. About 24 bucks a pop. They're not cheap, but they work well. But with those comes with that sort of thing. So you buy wire assist. So inside of that is wire, so they don't bite you off. Hopefully not. So we use wire assist, and you get old conventional type wire, but not as pretty and don't work as good. Remember at the Swains Reef, we do a bit of jigging for, especially Marcus downstairs. He's real good at it. He does a lot of jigging for mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and he uses the old school wire ones. And if you've got time to talk to him tonight, he's really good at it.
I mean, that'd be wicked to catch.
Oh, it's like another one of those bucket ones, you know.
Oh, man.
I know,
Yeah, that'd be unreal.
I know. And it's like these are Japanese jigs. We've got some really cool stuff down there, but there are little other things you can get to, like this little thing here that it's just a little bite wire. So that goes above the lure. So you have a split ring and a solder ring on your above the, it goes attaches to the top of the jig, and then you attach this little wire arm onto the split ring, so it makes it that much longer above it, and then tie your line to that. So it's just another bite trace, so to speak. Yeah, there's all different styles of that too. But yeah, it's endless, but something different. Okay. I'm going to go spotted mackerel because we're running out of time. Is everyone all right for Spanish? Everyone's good? Okay, cool. Go and get them, guys. Okay. Yes.
The place not available for Spanish.
Yep.
Tips for land-based or headlands?
Yeah, so if you're land-based, you get a jet ski, haven't you? No, jet ski.
No.
You're land-based?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're land-based, look, last year there was a couple caught off the seaway. You need a balloon, you need preferably southwesterly wind blowing. And you need to get live bait. So you need to, I don't know if you can go to the jetty anymore, but I know they get a few yakkers off the jetty on the inside of the Bums Bay there. You know that little jetty at the end of the bay. So you got SeaWorld boat ramp and the little bay, right? Boats are in. At the end there's a jetty there, and they catch yakkers off that jetty. Not so much daytime, but definitely nighttime. But you need to get some live yakkers, and then send off the wall in a balloon. But you need the southwest blowing, so it blows it out. That'll start blowing probably when we start to get more mackerel, which will be probably end of March or early April. Yeah, so a bit of westerly. There's a little blue westerly on last Sunday morning, southwest. Yeah, it's starting to happen already. The other way is you go down to Cabarita, fish off Cabarita off the rocks. Down there, it's not too bad. They get mackerel down there. Definitely get them at Pottsville as well. That little, you got to walk across that little island though. You know what that is down there at Pottsville? Oh, not Pottsville, at Fingal. Sorry, Fingal. Yeah, have you fished there at all? Yeah, and got out to the little island? Yeah, just fish off there. Again, same scenario. Yeah, mate, balloon it out. They're around that area as well. You get longtails, longies as well. Yep. But you'll need to fish wire when you're fishing from the shore. A little bit different, but only very short, just a bite trace again. But just can't tie your line straight to the rig, because when you're trawling, when they hit it, you're like tensions on it the whole time. But when you're fishing land-based and it's loose, they'll just bite up the line as they attack, and they'll just bite you off. Does that make sense? Yeah, you'll work it out. Yeah. But yeah, there's a few guys down the rocks there do it all the time at Seaway. Johnny's been down there. Have you seen any fish, have any mackerel caught off the Seaway at all, Johnny?
Oh, not for a while.
Not for a while, but they catch them down there.
Yes,
Yeah. So it's just on the day. When the bait comes in close, the water's clean, southwest blowing. That's when you got to go do it. Okay. Okay. We'll switch to spotties. So spotties. Yeah, there's a few caught today out the front here. Who likes eating spotties over Spanish? Anyone got any preference? Spano. Okay. You guys, doesn't matter. They're all nice anyhow. But yeah, so spotties are a little bit more softer flesh than Spanish. But if you cook it straight away, it's really, really nice. Yeah. But the beauty of spotties is you're allowed to keep 5 instead of 1 or 2. Second thing is, I love spinning for spotties. I like bait fishing for them too, but I prefer to spin, metals sort of thing, which you can do it from the rocks as well, mate. So,
I was going to ask you just about eating. The ciguatera, is that in North Queensland?
No, it's not. It's down here as well, but it's like winning lotto. The opposite way though. That's right. So look, I've eaten Spanish mackerel since I was a kid. My dad, 50 years ago, used to take me out, and I've never had it, never got it. None of our families ever got it, and we've eaten thousands of mackerel, I guess, Spanish mackerel. I don't think it's much in spotties, but definitely in Spanish. But there are cases of guys. There's a school teacher, I think, down at Palmy, got one a few years ago, caught a big one, like 22 kilos or something. Shedded the whole street, and everyone on the street got ciguatera poisoning. Yeah, because it's a big fish. Yeah, I know. So, look, it's potluck, but it's very, 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 very minuscule. Yes, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. And there's guys here that pro fish as well and sell the fish. So, yeah. It's really weird. It's one of those things. They go out North Queensland to Harvey Bay, and it's a place called Platypus Bay, which is in Watumba Creek at Fraser. The fish in that bay you can't catch. You got to, because they class as ciguatera poisoning, you got to release them all. But you can go 100 metres that way, and you can keep them. Okay, so and I haven't heard of many cases on that 100 metres over. They're probably not as bad in there as well. It's just yeah. But once, has anyone here had ciguatera poisoning? You get a coral trout more of not so much coral trout, but more the luna-tailed trout, coronation trout. Coronation trout have it more than coral trout, and probably more than Spanish mackerel. Stuart's had it. Him and his dad got it from they were done a trip up the Bunker Group and got a nice big coronation trout, and they both ended up in hospital. Yeah. So Stuart couldn't eat prawns for 2 years, which killed him because he loves going prawning, and his seafood smashed him. Yeah. but he's just getting, that was about 5 years ago, he's just getting back into it now, eating fish. But apparently it stays in the system forever.
Yeah, that's what I have heard.
Okay, so spotted mackerel. 3 ways to catch them: trawling, casting lures, and float lining. So that's the 3 main items, okay? If you're going to trawl from those first little lures that went around earlier, that's the size to use. Keep it small, under 14 centimetres. But they will, I've caught them on that size, fishing for Spanish, but not big lots, like little lures. I don't do it, I probably should do it, but I definitely love trawling that type of rig there. That's like my go-to. Or the Reaper rig, they're both very good. So that's our biggest selling rig that we sell. Very sharp hooks, ouch. Like that, green skirt, pink skirt, red and white skirt, doesn't matter what colour skirt it is. Over the top, and it's exactly the same way rig as we did that sari before, but I'll put a picture on this to show you. I'll pass it around again. So when you get your pilly, make sure that the belly's not all ripped. Really important, okay? I'd rig them from underneath as well. And you need that again to go through there. So something I'll put on top, like so. The first hook's going to start right at the back. So if it's too small a pilcher, just let it swing. Doesn't hurt. Okay, so underneath, I'm just putting it in there like so. Sorry. It's always hard to do this one. It's going to come through, doesn't matter. That's fine. The next 2 will hold it in. In.
Yeah, would it paint put a bit of cotton around there?
Yeah, you can, John. You can use the bait, mate. I meant to grab some tonight from downstairs, but I forgot to. But that stretchy nylon type stuff John's talking about, bait mate's really good. So slide your little thing down over the top here. Oops. So you need to get that hook eye inside the cone. Does that make sense? So you're holding it all in place. And then just lining them all up straight. That sinker's actually pivoted around. It's not good. That sinker should be flat. I didn't check that before I put it in there. So it's that shape instead of that shape. Wrong shape, but yeah, that's right. But that's it. And then again, pull the skirt down. Just because it's a little skirt, just pop one of these over through his leg. Need better glasses. I try and line the eyes up on the skirts the same way as the eyes on the fish. Does that make sense? So they're not upside down sort of thing. They're more side on. Doesn't matter, it's fine. That's it. This is a bit soft, this pilly actually. I'll pass that around, you can sort of see it there. I'll just put that on this and pass it around. Just trying to fiddle it too much because the last guy won't get to see it in the full thing. I think so. Oh, there it is. Oh, you did hear me. Okay. Thank you. So this is the stuff. There's all different. We have all different shapes, sizes, grades, whatever. But it's like an elasticized cotton. I'm going to use it for doing the float line part. But it's like stretchy type stuff. So it's like that, but it's stretchy. Okay. I'll show you how to do it in a minute. But as John said, you can go over the whole top of that and back down again, and it sort of melts into the colour of the fish. You don't actually even see it on there. But definitely straightens it up, John, for trawling. Okay, so Reaper rig.
Sorry, before you move on, what size did you say the deep diver hard body?
About a 14 centimetre max, 140 mil max. So 11 centimetres really good. Even like your jack or barrel lures work, you know. So one good thing about Al is he's now using 7-strand wire on these. He used to use single strand on this type of rig, but they weren't doing the single strand shape very good. Now they're doing it really good with 7 strand. It's actually 49 strand, it's even better again. So if you don't know what 49 strand wire is, 49 strand wire is like 7 strands of 7. So it becomes very, very soft. You can tie knots and you can do everything. 7 strands a bit stiffer, but there are ones in between too, which I'll show you a bit later. A little bit longer rig on this. As I said, this doesn't really do anything. It's just a colour and tractor, okay? But the beauty is it's got that bib on there, so it makes it swim. Has anyone used these before? They're really, really good. Had any luck with it yet? Yeah, good. So it has this little thing at the top here. This is what they're called Reaper rigs. Looks like the Grim Reaper's hatch. Okay, and you put the fish's head in there, which I'm going to do in a minute, and that goes down and locks it in position. Thank you, my friend. Cheers, mate. Thank you. So how we do that is we just put the head into the rig like so, make sure it's straight. Pin the head first before you put the hooks in, and just push it down. That's it, it's locked in there. First hook, you can let it swing, or you can just dig it in a little bit if you want, like so. Back hook, same deal again. You can let it swing, or you can just dig it in, like so. And that's it. And it actually does the swimming thing. Such a great thing, so quick. Okay.
You were the local guy, eh?
He's a local guy. We actually helped Al do it many years ago. He's was a very keen mackerel fisherman, and he wanted to get it right. And he's done a great job. Thank you. Any questions on that so far? Okay, now this is exactly the same scenario as the mackerel, Spanish mackerel, but we're running our lines further out. So they're further, they're a little bit more fussier. So running it like 40, 60 and 80 metres if you're running 3, and maybe even 100 if you're running 4, which is a long way back. Well, it's not that far back when you're in a boat because it looks like it should be way out there, but it's actually just there. But it's still long enough out for someone to come across and cut your lines off. So you might need to speed up quickly every now and then. If you see some guy coming and it's always on that angle, you're going, nah, I'm going to be all right. And the next minute, they're right at the back of the boat. So they're the ones you've got to be careful of and just have to speed up, or you stop and let him go in front of you.
So if you're not sure,
Just gun it.
no,
Oh.
not that scenario, like further back, so you're saying.
Yeah. So drop your furthest one back. You got to run 3 lines, do you reckon, or 4?
Oh, I don't mind usually running a couple of extra.
Yeah. Okay.
Have your
So-
chances.
Yeah. So look, I'd run the probably the 2. If I run 2 reapers and 2 of those rigs we do, I'd run 2 reapers out further, and 2 of ours in a bit closer. They're going to be sitting down a bit deeper, a bit heavier. But in saying that, you can alter it. You can switch one to the front and one to the back if you wanted to try it, but make sure it's out of the way of the other one. The whole idea of having like 10 and 20 metres apart is when you turn, they don't hit each other. They don't get caught up. But if you run your rods down low, which I do sometimes on my side riggers, I've got side riggers that drop into the rod holder, the rods are like that, you have to run those the furthest back. Don't run them short. The short ones are always the ones that are straight at the back like that. Okay. Yeah, so just set your lines, same deal. The beauty of spotties is too, that they generally don't grow over 10 kilos or a metre, 1.1 metre. So you can run 4,000 or 5,000 size spin gear with 30-pound braid and have fat time if you want to. You don't need to run big, heavy stuff. Okay. Or a little overhead could be size 8 or a 10, 12, whatever. Thank you. Cheers, mate. Okay. So, and just trawl the reef like I showed you earlier. Is that okay? Okay, the next thing, this is the hardest one, is float lining. So, float lining, again, there's like 2 or 3 different ways of float lining. One is you anchor up and you burley up and you burley lots and you run floats or no floats. I run no floats most of the time, but I do use floats sometimes. I don't ever use styrene. I run little floats downstairs. We have a little round, sort of oval shaped ones, and I run a float stopper bead. So float stopper beads on your line all the time. It's like a little silicon bead. You put that on first before you thread it through the float, and that adjusts the depth. So if you want it down 5 metres, you just pull a little bead up 5 metres, it goes onto your reel. When you cast, it just comes off, it doesn't get caught. And then what happens is the weight of the bait in the little sinker, pull the line down through the float, 5 metres down, until it hits the bead and it stops on top of the float. But when you pull the line in, the float goes straight down to the fish and the bead comes back on the reel again. If it's only 1 metre deep, or the bead's just there, right? So it's a great system. But you get yourself good little floats, don't get cheapy ones, get good ones. Maybe $10 each or whatever, but they're good. Next thing is, if you want to use a float, the only time I use float too, if I've got a bit of current. So I've got a bit of current and the float's sitting out there and my line's getting pulled up behind the float. I don't like that, and it tends to spin a bit. They don't like that either. So if you get a float on, it allows you to run like a 1 ball sinker or a 0 ball sinker, like a pea size or half a pea size, right down on top of the rig above your bait. Sits there. It's a very small and compact. Fish don't really take notice of it, but it keeps your line down that way in the system. Does that make sense? Below the float. If you don't use a float and you throw your line out, it always tends to work its way back up again. So you've got to change the bigger sinker, and it then becomes not as unnatural. You put bigger sinker, it doesn't work. They just seem to look at it and swim away. You see them in the back of the boat swimming around. And you see them looking. No, if it's not presented right, they'll keep going. If that bait's spinning or whatever, it's got to just be sitting there natural. Really important. So the rigs we use, has anyone used a 2-hook snell hook rig before on wire? It is the gun. It's so good. You've tried it? Not on wire, yeah. Yeah, we get bitten off on mono, unfortunately. So you buy a wire that you can actually snell. So you can snell wire. And that wire is a few different types here, but I'll just pass this around just to give you some idea. Even I just grabbed this one before, so this is the cheapest one we got. It's only like $10, but I reckon I can make this work. So this is 20 pounds. I'm only using like 18 to 30 pound max, but 18 to 20 is really good, or 22 or something like that. Hook wise, now this is the other thing. I see guys using like 5.0s and 6.0s for spotties. The pros use like 1.0s and 2.0s. They're really small hooks. Every one of them's in the gills. They're down the gills. They just eat the whole thing and get caught. So downsize your hooks. Okay. So in your bag you've got 1.0s or maybe 2.0s, probably 1.0s I think. These are 1.0s. So I'm going to snell this here. I'm going to try using this wire. I haven't used this wire yet, but we'll give it a crack. So this is cheap, £20, okay? $10 for 10 metres. So I'm going to run it through the first hook like so. I know you can't see up there, but I'm going to hold it like that. So I thread it through over the top, grabbed it, and then it's going to work back up. Loop over the top probably about 5 times, if you know, for 6 times. Oops, let's let go of it. Then I'm going to go back down through that first loop I did, right, before I went back up. And that's snelled onto that hook. It's wire, okay? Oops, great. And then the second hook, I can snell it on there or I can do a loop knot. It depends which way you want to go. Okay, so if I snell it on there, I probably want it sitting about that far apart, okay? So I'll probably just make that a bit shorter, it's going to pull up. Watch that hook. I'll pass this around in a sec. Need those pliers. Okay. Normally if you pull the pliers, that'll come down a bit tighter, but yeah, that'll do. Those scissors should cut this wire. Let's trim it off nice and neat. And that's my little hook rig, okay? Then on the other end, I'm going to put a little swivel. This is how quick it is to make it. You sit down the night before, you make about 10 of these or 20. You'll go through them, because when the spotties are on, what happens is sometimes, and not sometimes but most times, it comes back, it's all pigtaily. So you get the hooks out of the fish's mouth and you look at your rig and it's all like pigtaily and it doesn't present well. I look at it and I'll swim away. It's got to be nice and neat and flat and straight. So this one here, I'm going to do a little perfection loop. So I just make a little granny's knot first, okay? Like a little granny's knot. Go through the swivel. Back through the little granny's knot. Then just do one twist and go in and out through the granny's knot again. Pull it up. Again, pair of pliers that help to pull that down tight, but that'll do for now. You get the gist. Trim it off. And that's my rig, okay? Ready to go. And then I'm going to grab a pilcher out of here. There's one still here somewhere. I'm going to rig one up from the head end and one from the tail end, because I use both ends. But you need to use both ends because you need to find out which one's biting. If you get more hits on the head end, that's the one you've got to use for the day. If you get nothing in the tails, you then cut the tails up as you burley. And if you're getting on the tails, not the head, and the head's not touched working, cut the head up into little slithers about, you'll get like 6 cuts out of a half a pilly. And that's your burley. You're continuously throwing it in the water. As soon as it disappears, you can't see it again, you throw another 5 or 6 in, okay? So, this little rig here. So, go this way. So I'll go through and pop that out the top there like so. And this through this part here like so. Now I'm going to show you something with that, what Johnny talked about before. Actually, I won't do this in, I'll do it on the head end with that wrap stuff. So that's it. It's just like that. It's nice, presented nice, is nice, ready to go. Sorry about the blood.
What pound wire is that?
20.
20 pound.
20 pound. So you got a hook exposed to the side. So if it grabs it from that end, it's going to get hooked. The other end's going to get hooked. They just don't miss. And they're always down the gill. They just swallow the whole thing. So we got those. We do pre-make these too, by the way, which is, these are single hook version. Actually, I'll use the single hook version to show you how to do the head part. So the boys have cheated here. They've done loops both ends, which is okay. So, again, unless I know my spot really well, I do not just go straight there and anchor up. And I know there's boats coming in the distance. I can see all the lights coming towards me. And I'm going, shit, someone's going to get my spot. I'll quickly put out some baits or lures, depends what time of day it is, morning it is, and do one quick troll around my marks. It'll take me 10 minutes. And hopefully no one pulls up in 10 minutes. And I'm marking where I see the mackerel. And then I'm going back and anchor it on that spot. Okay? But if you just go there first and you anchor up and you put in half an hour and try and get it happening, and they're over that side of the reef that day, you've missed your spot because 3 other boats have pulled up there in that time period. It's worth the sacrifice. And hopefully you get a fish while you're trawling around. And if I'm getting fish while I'm trawling around and I get a double hook up, I'm not going to float line. I'm going to keep trawling. So when you buy the packet, you get this fun here. I suggest doing it at home. You should probably get seasick at sea doing this. Sabotage, Stuart. Oh my gosh. Like, how could a swivel go through a hook in a packet? It doesn't work. That one did. Okay, so the head section. So what I do, I get the hook, I go through, this one's actually broken his head off, but that's all right. I get through the eye, pull it through, and then I'll dig that into the flesh. As we said before, it doesn't matter if it's not, I like it a bit exposed, but it's not going to be exposed. But that's fine because it'll just rake that and get hooked up, okay? But that stuff we had before, this one here. So what you do is you keep that fairly close to, this actually becomes fairly stinky, this thing. But I've got my hook there, right? Okay, and my wire's there hanging at the top. gone through the eye first. And what you do is you just go round and round, pull it very tight around it. And just to finish it off, you just pop it, like just break it, like so, and it doesn't unravel. I don't know if it doesn't unravel, it doesn't unravel. And that's it. That's actually where I started at the front here. But yeah, that's it. And that they don't see that because when you put it in the water, it actually goes like a, it's like UV, it goes like a bluey purple colour, and you don't see it. Okay, you'll see the wire more than that. But it's really hard for them to rip that bait off. It's a bit squashed up, sorry, because it's a bit soft, that pilly. Anyhow. And it's really important, guys, you keep your pilly in a little esky with ice in it. And you keep your pillies on top of the ice, not the ice on top of the pillies to squash them. And you just grab out, the best to get IQF ones, and just grab out like 6 or 8 and put it up onto the bait board at a time. Because you want pillies that are semi-frozen firm all day when you're fishing, the whole day you're fishing, not just in the morning when you first get there. Okay. That all good? Okay, so what we do, we've got our rigs rigged up, right? And I'll definitely run 4 rigs, and I'll run really light stuff like this. I love using like this sort of thing. Okay, which is like a bit heavier than a flathead rod, say a snapper rod. 4,000 or 5,000 reel, and I'm running sort of 20 or 30 pound braid. And I will use my flathead rods, which have got like 12 to 15 pound braid, and 2,500 or 3,000 size reel. Great fun. And what I'll do, I might try one with a float, not too far at the back, but the other ones I'll just throw them out wherever my burl is, the way my burl is going. Does that make sense? And I like to throw one out every time I throw out a burley. So I'm checking my lines all the time, checking the baits, whatever. And I'll throw a handful of bait out, and I'll quickly just toss half a pilly out with the bait, leave the bar arm open, just let it free fall. And I'll strip a bit of line off before I put it in the rod holder. So it's even got more looseness to go down with the burl that you just threw in. Then you'll see the mackerel come zipping around the back and eat the burley, and next minute your lines take it off a million miles an hour, so already on there. Hopefully that's what happens to you guys. But that's it. Otherwise, set your drag. I set my drag fairly loose, not too tight. I do see guys that run it tighter the rod hold, and they've got like a big 850 spinfish or something, quite a big chunky reel, and I see them catch fish. I think it's everything opposite of what I'm saying, but obviously works. But those days they're biting on anything. But look, guys, at the end of the day, if you want to have a bit of fun, this is the go. The only problem with this is if you've got tight quarters, you've got a boat, say, double the distance to the back of the shop is, might be, thanks, mate. Thank you. Your turn to do the exercise there, mate. Yeah. The boat might be just 30 metres away. He's pulled up pretty close to you, and like, I'll put up with it. And then you get a mackerel on, and it goes on this thing flying out towards him, and you just got to be careful not to cut the anchor ropes off. Because if there's a bit of current and the rope's tight, and your fish goes across his anchor rope, and just goes straight through his anchor rope like hot knife through butter. I've seen it happen so many times, and my kids have done it, and I've always turned the other way and just pretend I didn't know what was going on. And when they're little, but yeah, they couldn't control the fish. But yeah, so you got to try and steer the fish in that situation if you get a boat pretty close. But otherwise, it's a lot better fun on these, and you definitely get more bites and more fish.
The sharks still go to spotties?
Look, they do, but not as much as Spanish. They love Spanish. They don't seem to hit the spotties too bad.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
and that's true. Yeah, like up the pin though. Like, have anyone fished the jumping pin when the spotties are in 20 football field size of schools? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. If you see that video of Stewie's catching like 2 at one time, that was one of the times. It happens every year. If you get that glass out around mid to late April, is when you get them up there in that sort of plague proportion. And you've got to drive through the green zone and get in there. So I don't know if you notice there's a green zone there, right? Get that app called Fishing 2.0. It's a Queensland app, it's free, and it works on satellites, not just download. And you can see where you are at any one time if you're in the green zone. It keeps telling you, you're in the green zone, you're in the green zone. You see yourself driving along. And so we switch it on and we go, we're out of the green zone, aren't we? And let's check, we have a thing, it's not 300 metres that way, got to keep going. And then around us, there's fish just everywhere, just zipping around and everything. So we keep driving and we grab our rods, we go, I'll just check, 60 more metres. So we get there, and they're still there anyhow. They're still thick as thieves up that end as well, and yeah, they're just everywhere in the boat. They're everywhere in the boat. You could just dangle your line in the water, talking to your mate, and they freaking jump on the line, just sitting in the water. You know, they're everywhere. That will happen this year, I guarantee it, but it won't. It might not be until April. Generally, when they are here in those big proportions, we get like a 40 knot low go past. And by the time the low's finished and the sea allows us to go, they've nicked off back up to Harvey Bay or something. That happens sometimes. But anyhow. But that's the sort of rig we're using for float lining. But if you want to use overheads, you can. The problem with the overheads is you can't really cast them unless it's like a little Lexa or a little thing you can cast. That's okay. But if you're using like a TLD 20 or 25, you've got to hand strip it. So you need to hand strip about probably 4 or 5 metres onto the floor or 6 metres and hand cast it and then strip off some more. And that, you're pretty well working the rods all the time. But if you've got spin reels, much easier, just cast it out. Okay, now whilst that's all happening, this is the next stage. Any more questions on the float lining at all? All good? Chopping up the burley, keeping it going, whatever's happening. Keeping your line down there. You don't want to be floating on the surface, there's too much current. You've got to add all that into the equation. The next thing is casting metals. So whilst your lines are out there, I have another rod which I'm constantly casting around a 20 or 30 gram metal on, like that sort of thing. Okay, I'll pass this around. This is a 20 gram. That's about as light as you use. I will show you something. If it's a bit windy and you need to get up to a 30 gram, which is that size, still not too bad a size, you're all working on the profile of the fish that they're feeding on. And when you catch all the spotties, and like a tuna, when you bring them up, they'll spit out these little white bait or anchovies, whatever, about that size. But there are days when you need to cast bigger lures, like a 40 gram or a 60 gram, or that size, because of the wind, or 60, bigger again. You can get a little type lure like that type of thing there, which is actually smaller than that 20 going around. That's a 30, and the 40 is not much bigger. I don't have a 40 here, but yeah, it's nearly the same size. But they're a chunkier version, so you can cast into the wind a lot easier. Now, when you're casting lures for spotties, it's about distance. So you need to nearly hit the boat, hit that guy's burley trail next to you. That's 60 metres over that way, and pluck one out of his burley trail. So you're casting out. It's a bit like Russian roulette when you're using metals, because the reason is, as it's sinking down, they're down deeper, right? You got to allow 5 to 10 seconds for it to sink. When it's sinking down, it's glittering away, and now you think it has to be the right depth. And you go to crank it, and it's just light, and it's already gone. They've already snipped it off, and that happens a lot. And when they're on, you'll go through 6 or 10 of those little metals in a session, but you'll get 10 or whatever spotties too. Yeah, you can. So that's the next thing. Good call. So there's little bite tracers you can buy these days that will definitely work really, really well. One here's really good. And I'll pass these two around. So these are one's one that's designed for hairtail, but would work so well. I've only just got these in. It'll work so well on the spotties. It's very petite. And the other one's a Helco 27 pound, but it's a bit chunkier, and it's actually lighter. Where the Valley Hill ones, I think that's 40 pound or 30 pound. It's a bit stronger. But both those work really well. So it's just a bite trace, about so big. Yeah. Now you can make your own little bite traces up. Oh, I was going to show you this wire. So this is a 42 by 7 wire. So this is like, you could tie blood knots in it. It's like, it's very, very, very soft, okay? And this is another new one, which I haven't tried yet. It's a, they use it again on hairtail. So hairtail is very similar to mackerel. They've got the same sort of teeth, except they've got bigger teeth at the front. But the back one's the same, just the ones that bite you off. So yeah, this is like mono again. So you can tie figure 8, loop knots, everything in it, right? I'll pass this, it's 45 by 7, so you see what it feels like when I pass it around. And it's wire, it's not mono. That one's 157, about 20 pounds. Nearly not 8.5 kilo. Yeah, but that's all you need for spotties. Okay. Just while we're talking about spotties, I didn't talk about, you can spin for Spanish mackerel too, guys. So when you're catching your spotties, you do get Spanish too when you're catching spotties because you burley them up, and sometimes Spanish mackerel will be out amongst the pack as well. So if you see a Spanish jump, just up the ante, put on like an 80 grammer, and that worked really well. I've caught many big Spanish down at Mermaid, like 20 kilo ones, doing this technique. The old radar lures back in the day. Yeah, they're really good. Any questions on that at all? Just one thing I wanted to say before on the pilly rigs, you could also do this type of thing here. These are a new thing out, which I haven't tried because I've only been out like for not even a month. But this type of rig here, so the dressed hooks on swivels, but you'd have to run the torpedo sinker above it to get it down. There's no room to put a sinker. You put a sinker on the second hook maybe, but then it's not going to be quite swinging as you at the front. Yeah, but that's another technique you could use, those things. I think that's about it, guys. Oh, I want you to try, has anyone tried a pink bait you get? You all used to use the rainbow film or the white ones. Just the pink at the end. So you've got one in your bags. They are the gun, okay? So I tried one last year. I've never used pink. I've always used my white or my rainbow film, whatever. And this particular day, it's really hard to get bait. Some days it's really hard to get bait. I just had one. I put it on, dropped it down there. 6. Ever since then, I only use that. Yeah.
I've had an experience. I've used pink before.
And no luck?
And not
Yeah.
successfully.
Give it a crack.
Gone back to the fluoro
Yeah.
yellowy.
Yeah. Yeah. Give it a go, mate. I vouch for it.
Well, it's not bad, yeah. Well, something get used.
And they're cheap. Like they're like 3 for like $10 or $9 or something. They're cheap. But yeah, give them a go. Good. What else we got in there? I think you got hooks in there. You got that. You got swivels. You got the rigs. I think you've got a hard body lure as well. I think you got a spinner. That's 40 grams. Is there a bait rig in there as well? Oh, you got 2 rigs. Okay, you got a heavy and light. Perfect. So you got a gar rig or sari, and you got a pilchard rig. Thanks a lot, mate. Awesome. Thank you. So any questions on the gear in the bag at all? So you can copy that rig. Just take it home and copy it. Okay. They're about $25 to $30 for the bigger one each. So, but for you to make it, probably costs you about $10 or $12. It just takes us 20 minutes to make one. Yeah, time. Okay.
And that's all single strand wire.
Yeah, it's all single strand wire. I think the little one's on 40 pound or 44, and the big one might be on 60 pound. Yeah. Okay, any questions at all, folks? Are you all ready to roll? Go get them.
I know Spanish not open until Sunday.
Yes.
When I looked at the weather the other day, Saturday.
Saturday's a better day. So look,
I'm happy to chase. I'm happy to chase spotties.
yeah, look, I'd go out on the potential of chasing spotties, and if you get a Spanish, they're there for Sunday.
Then you go back Sunday, right? Mark them all.
Yeah, put it a cage till Sunday. This is mine. Yeah, put a phone number on it. Look, yeah, you go back Sunday. But Sunday the weather looks like it's a bit windy. It's around 10 to 15 knots. Yeah, but I'm going to go to Melbourne tomorrow for a few days. But I'll be back on Sunday. So Saturday night, midnight. So I'm going to go out Sunday morning, regardless. Hopefully the weather's all right. Yeah. There's a lot more, guys, but that's if you follow all of that, you'll catch fish. That's all I do. You'll do it. Yeah. Okay.
Weather. I look at the Gold Coast wave buoys for what has happened. I've seen some apps where there's a prediction of what the swell will do.
Yeah, windy app.
Windy does that.
Yeah, windy does it.
As well.
7 days ahead. Yeah. 7 days. Big swell down at Sydney at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, so spotties. Oh, where to find them? Yeah, look. Yeah. Look, as I said, if I'm going to chase Spanish, I'll be going straight to Diamond Reef. If you're going out from the Seaway, and give it a quick crack really early. You will have the tide on Sunday will be low in the morning, I think it is. So just make sure the swell's under 1.2 or 1.5 in the dark. I'm talking about. Is it dangerous? If it's over 1.5 in the dark, I'd probably hold off to crack a daylight, and probably still go to the Diamond Reef, and then give that a crack for 2 laps. 2 laps is enough. If you don't get a fish in 2 laps, it's either a bite time thing, or they're just not biting. If you see people stop, so keep an eye on watch other people. That's your greatest thing, guys. So if someone stops, if they're fighting fish, just beeline out, not in his way, but near him, and look for the screen, mark it, because that's where they are. They stack up in one spot sometimes, and they're not in other areas. And unless you do pass over that exact area, you won't get them. But you can go pass, on. It's just that one area all the time. So you just got to play around. But if you're getting a little boat, say 4 metre boat, I'd just probably go straight to the pin because that front's not even 3 k's out. Yeah. And if you're land-based, matey, I'd probably look at, I don't know, it's a hard one, but if there's no southerly and a little bit of westerly, I'd probably head down more Tweed way. So whether it be Fingal, Rock or Cabaret or somewhere. Yeah, and try and get some live bait or spin metals. Yeah, spotties rarely come in. It's funny. Spotties are according closer than Spanish, but you'll catch Spanish off the rocks and beach, but you won't catch Charlie's spotty off the rock and beach. Does that make sense? Doesn't quite make sense. That's how it works. So the spotties must get to the shark net and go, I'm out of here. But Spanish are only out there, but every now and then they'll do a trip in along the beach. Yeah. All the
Are
rocks.
any of those techniques you talk about for spotties trolling dead baits, can you use those with dolphin fish at the fads?
Yeah, of course
Is
you
that
can.
similar
Those
sort
little skirts are smack it at the fads. Yeah, so like we talked about, if you're going tomorrow, will you? Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah, so there's another gentleman here going. You're going to fads tomorrow, mate. Yeah, so give that a crack. Try it. Try that pillage rig, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, trolling it, but slow troll, not too fast, 2 knots, whatever. Yeah. Same as spotties, it's dead slow. Stopping on those when you see those humps with the fish on it, letting it sink down, and then when it gets down, you see the line go down like that. Make sure it's at the bottom, might get caught, but just let it keep going down, and then just pop it straight into gear, just real slow, and just let it pull it back up out of it, and they'll jump on.
So I've had a instance a couple of times where I'm just going out through the seaway, bust ups everywhere.
Yeah. The generally tuna. Sometimes mackerel.
I saw
You saw them zipping?
spotties jumping.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So I did a few laps with, this was ages ago.
Yeah, but they were this morning. Yeah. Take note of them. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for sharing.
I'm getting up early.
Yeah.
Tried the hard bodies, sort of doing a lap round.
Yep.
It was probably they were two. I had the Spanish big ones.
Yep.
So then pulled up and was throwing 30 grams, literally where they're busting up, and just couldn't get anything.
You're letting it sink a bit. You gotta let it sink a bit, like
Right. Okay.
5 to 10 seconds, and it may get bitten off, but you'll definitely get more fish. And when you're spinning, stop. It's as quick as that, and it's as quick as that. Stop before you go again.
Retrieve,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No, they don't like just that sort of thing. No, you got to work it. When it stops, they'll be zipping after. As soon as it stops that pause, they'll just nail it. Yeah.
Okay.
And but you got to let it sink a bit, so you actually bring it from maybe 4 meters down up.
I was
Yeah.
thinking it might have been a match the hatch thing.
Yeah, it could be that too. So yeah.
Too small.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. You got to, but you need to catch one and see what it spits up to get the gist of it. You got to get one. Yeah. Okay, I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover. Okay, all good. Okay, so guys, just to show a couple of deals tonight, which we are running, and we've got to get our prizes as well. We'll do the prizes first, actually. Okay, we've got to run about whatever it is. First one's about 500, 300, 200, and there's quite a few after that, around 100 less. Okay, so no Stewie here tonight, so I'm just going to draw one out of the hatch. Yeah, my wife's sitting next door there.
I
Oh,
was looking at Stewie. Oh, you told me, didn't you? You didn't win anything last time, you got a good chance this time.
I did say that, didn't I?
You did. Thank you, Doug. That's
This is
all.
Uncle Fred. Thanks, matey. Well, it is number one, guys.
I'll win 5 today.
Well done.
No, thank you.
You got a long set of boga grips in there, like lip grips as well, because Mackerel got big teeth, so if you want to grip it to get
My
the
partner who's passed now, maybe it looks like a small. He's an ex-man last year. It looks like a small baseball.
Oh, true.
It's perfectly carved. He's put everything in it.
Oh,
But now it needs some mackerel things in it because his.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Mine's still very clean.
yeah, right, okay. You need to dirty it up.
That's the subduum.
Yeah, yeah, good. Okay, number 2. Lucky 7. Well done, Johnny. There you go, matey. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Okay. Ah, you're welcome, mate. Okay, next one. Nine. Well done. Good on you, buddy. Do you mind to pass that over to my friend there? Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys. Okay, next one. I think it's still around 100 and something bucks worth. In the back, 15. Well done. Make sure I got the right one, mate. Otherwise someone else will complain. No, that's 5th. This one feels a bit heavier, 4th. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Danta. Okay, next one. So can you draw one of those for me? Number you got, Dan? Up the front again, number 3. Well done, buddy.